50 meters below the busiest streets on Earth, 5 concrete cathedrals stand in perfect silence. Each one is tall enough to swallow the Statue of Liberty whole. This is the world's largest underground flood diversion facility, and it's the only thing standing between Tokyo and catastrophic destruction. What happens when 13 million people live on a floodplain? Tokyo sits on reclaimed land and river deltas that have flooded for centuries. The city sprawls across intersecting waterways where the Arakawa, Edogawa, and Sumida rivers converge before reaching Tokyo Bay. After devastating floods in the 1980s and 1990s killed dozens and caused billions in damage, Japan committed to building something the world had never seen. The metropolitan area, outer underground discharge channel, opened in 2006 after 14 years of construction. It cost 230 billion yen, roughly $3 billion in today's money. Engineers call it the Underground Temple or GCAN's project. Its mission is simple. Catch flood water from 5 rivers before it reaches downtown Tokyo, then pump it into the Edo River where it flows safely to the ocean. Has battled floods for its entire modern history. In 1947, Typhoon Kathleen killed over 1,100 people and destroyed 9,000 homes in the Kanto region surrounding Tokyo. The Arakawa and Tone rivers overflowed simultaneously, turning entire neighborhoods into lakes overnight. Recovery took years. The government knew the rivers were the problem, but Tokyo kept growing anyway. By the 1980s, Tokyo had become a megacity. Concrete covered the ground, eliminating natural water absorption. When Typhoon Flo hit in 1990, urban flooding paralyzed transportation and forced evacuation. Subway stations became waterfalls. Basements filled in minutes. The economic cost exceeded $2 billion. Politicians faced a choice: limit Tokyo's growth or engineer a solution. 92 GCANs. Project construction begins. Construction started in 1992 in Kasukabe City, Saitama Prefecture, just north of Tokyo's city limits. Engineers designed a system of massive underground tanks connected by tunnels that would intercept river overflow. The plan called for 5 concrete silos, each 65 meters deep and 32 meters wide, connected by 6.3 kilometers of tunnels large enough to drive trucks through. The main chamber would hold 59 massive pillars to support the weight of the earth above. The engineering required digging through unstable soil layers while keeping water out of the excavation site. Workers used vertical shaft boring machines that carved perfect cylinders through clay, sand, and gravel. Each of the 5 surge tanks took 3 years to complete. The tunnels connecting them were carved by
to fabricate the world's largest machine.
Today we need to think about our machines as not tunnel boring machines, but tunnel boring factories. And this becomes part of the factory, how to handle these large elements, the logistics in the machine, in the shaft, on the surface. Not a major issue for good engineers.
The main pump chamber features 4 massive turbines capable of moving 200 tons of water per second, enough to fill a 25-meter swimming pool in under a second. The facility became fully operational in 2006. Within its first year, it activated 18 times during heavy rainfall, preventing an estimated $1.2 billion in flood damage. Typhoon Hagibis in October 2019 tested the system like never before. The facility activated continuously for 78 hours, pumping water at maximum capacity. Kasukabe and nearby cities remained dry while other parts of Japan experienced deadly flooding. How do operators know when to activate the system? The physical evidence is massive and documented. The facility offers public tours, which have been photographed extensively by international media and engineering journals. The main chamber resembles an ancient temple with 59 pillars, each 10 meters tall and weighing 500 tons. Visitors can stand on the observation platform and see the scale themselves. Performance data comes from the Japan Water Agency, which publishes activation records and water volume statistics annually. During Typhoon Hagibis, the system diverted approximately 28 million cubic meters of water over 3 days. That volume would fill more than 11,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Tokyo's downtown flooding was minimal compared to predictions. Independent verification comes from satellite imagery and flood modeling. Researchers at Tokyo University compared flooding patterns in areas protected by GCANs versus unprotected regions during the same storm events. Protected zones experienced 78% less surface flooding. The correlation between system activation and flood prevention is statistically significant across multiple typhoon events. The economic case is documented in government white papers. Tokyo Metropolitan Government estimates that without the discharge channel, annual flood damage in the region would average between $500 million and $1.5 billion depending on typhoon severity. The facility has already prevented more damage than it cost to build. Some critics argue the system creates a false sense of security. Climate researchers point out that typhoons are intensifying and rainfall records are breaking regularly. The facility was designed for storm patterns from the 1990s. A truly catastrophic typhoon could exceed its capacity, especially if multiple rivers flood simultaneously. The system can handle 200 tons per second, but future storms might produce more. Some upstream towns still flood regularly because water is diverted around them, rather than stopped at the source. Environmental advocates note that concrete infrastructure doesn't address the root cause: climate change and overdevelopment on floodplains. The system manages consequences but doesn't prevent them. There's also the maintenance question. The facility requires constant upkeep. Pumps must be tested monthly. Concrete structures need inspection for cracks and stress damage. The operational budget runs approximately $8 million per year. As the infrastructure ages past 20 years, repair costs are climbing. No one knows how long the system will remain effective before major renovations are needed. People living above the GCAN's facility mostly don't think about it. Life continues normally in Kasukabe City. Children play in parks sitting directly over the surge tanks. Commuters pass through the area on their way to Tokyo, unaware of the massive chambers beneath the train tracks. That invisibility is the point. The system succeeds when nothing happens. For Tokyo residents, the psychological impact matters as much as the physical protection. Elderly people who remember the 1947 floods or the 1990 evacuations sleep easier knowing the infrastructure exists. Business districts operate without flood insurance premiums that would otherwise be crushing. The city's economy depends on predictability. When typhoons approach, people trust the system will work, and it has every single time. During Typhoon Hagibis, the system's success was measured in non-events. Neighborhoods that would have flooded stayed dry, subway lines kept running. Emergency services responded to other disasters instead of water rescues. In nearby Nagano Prefecture, where no such system exists, the Chikuma River burst its banks and killed dozens. The contrast was stark. Technology made the difference between tragedy and inconvenience. Expert lens, why it matters. Flood defense experts describe the GCAN's project as a template for coastal megacities worldwide. Bangkok, Jakarta, and Mumbai face similar geography. Massive populations on low-lying river deltas with increasing flood risk. The Japanese model proves that engineering can protect millions of people if governments commit sufficient resources. The question isn't whether the technology works, but whether other nations will invest before disaster strikes. Think of the system as a bathtub drain at city scale. During normal rain, water flows through rivers to the ocean naturally. During extreme rain, rivers fill faster than they can drain. Without intervention, they overflow into streets. The GCAN's facility acts as an overflow drain, catching excess water before it spills over and channeling it to a river with spare capacity. The physics is simple, the execution is monumental, the broader implication touches climate adaptation strategy. Building walls against rising seas gets attention, but managing extreme rainfall is equally critical. Tokyo chose active infrastructure, pumps and tunnels that require energy and maintenance rather than passive barriers. This approach works for river flooding, but requires long-term institutional commitment. The system only protects people as long as operators maintain and upgrade it. Culturally, the facility represents Japanese engineering philosophy. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and never assume safety. The country lives with earthquakes, tsunamis, and typhoons. Rather than accept vulnerability, Japan builds systems that give people a fighting chance. The underground temple isn't just flood defense, it's a physical manifestation of collective survival instinct. We know the system works because it has activated successfully during every major typhoon since 2006. We know it costs $3 billion and prevents far more damage than that every decade. What we don't know is whether it will remain sufficient as storms intensify. We also don't know if other megacities will replicate the model or wait until disaster forces their hand. The next chapter depends on choices made today. Japan will continue upgrading the facility. Engineers are testing more powerful pumps and reinforcing tunnel sections, showing where. The government has already budgeted funds through 2030 for ongoing improvements. Maintenance will continue as long as Tokyo exists. Change will test the system's limits. Meteorologists predict that by 2050, the region could face storms producing 30% more rainfall than current records. If that happens, the GCAN's facility might require expansion, additional surge tanks, deeper tunnels, or supplementary systems. systems. Political will to invest depends on economic conditions and competing priorities. Long-term, other cities will likely build similar systems. International engineering firms study the Tokyo model constantly. China has already begun constructing underground flood channels in Shanghai and Wuhan. As climate migration pushes more people into coastal cities, flood defense infrastructure will shift from optional to mandatory. The wildcard scenario involves a catastrophic storm that overwhelms the system. If Tokyo experiences flooding, despite GCANs being fully operational, public confidence would shatter. Engineers would face intense pressure to explain what went wrong and how to prevent recurrence. That scenario would accelerate infrastructure investment globally, but at the cost of potential lives lost. The hidden city beneath Tokyo is a reminder that the greatest engineering achievements are the ones you never notice working. Millions of people live their lives safely because a previous generation decided to dig impossibly deep and build impossibly large. Will you invest before disaster or rebuild after? If you found this story fascinating, watch our next video on Singapore's Marina Barrage, another incredible feat of urban flood defense engineering that turned a country's water scarcity problem into an advantage. The technology is different, but the stakes are exactly the same.